I'm an American living in Moscow, Russia, and today is voting day. And in this video, my Russian wife is going to go vote, and we are going to show you what this experience is like. If you are a normal person living in Russia like she is, what is it like? And you can comment and tell us what it's like compared to voting in your country. You were born in the Soviet Union maybe, and then you spent your younger years in Canada, and now you're back here as an old man, is that right?
I'm not an old man yet, but I'll be one soon. I'm going to hit 40 in a couple of years.
Быстро, Макс.
Хоть что-то.
So 82% of the people that could vote voted. That would be adults, right? Including women, because Russia is a modern place. In case you don't know, Westerners that are listening right now and wondering what Russia's really like. Is Russia a modern place? Or is Russia a scary place? Is Russia safe for women? Is Russia safe for children? Would you ever go to Russia?
You kind of have the big central party tends to get that big fat like 50 to 60%, and then the communists get about 20%, and LDPR gets about 20%. So in some ways, if you think about like there's sort of 5 people in Russia, you have, I don't know, 3 of them are part of the big party, one of them is a communist, and then one of them probably voted LDPR.
So it's actually voting weekend in Russia, and it's presidential voting. I, of course, am an American, and I have voted in many American elections, presidential and otherwise. And in America, you usually go to a church to vote. Churches are good because they're big buildings that are not used all the time, you know, like all week long. So during a weekday, it also has, you know, volunteers, church people that want to help out. And so when it's time to vote and you've registered to vote, then you go to whatever church in your neighborhood that suggests you go to vote. So how is it in Russia, Sveta?
In Russia, we usually vote in the buildings of the schools and some government buildings close to the people.
Okay.
Actually, I'm registered in a different district, and I had to go online and take my special ticket for this address, so then I will be able to vote on that address. I can also go vote online, but I prefer to walk and do it in person.
My parents, they voted online because for them it's just easier. I chose to go physically, just to enjoy the moment, and they've done everything they could to make sure that everyone can execute their right to vote.
Кристоф, возьми Максима, пожалуйста. Где он идет? Ну, он не идет, он не слышал тебя, наверное.
And you lived in America for 9 years recently, so this will be the first time you voted for the president in quite a while.
Yes.
Yeah, I was with someone who just became a citizen, and we had a little party, and he was a bit emotional about it, and he was like, wow, this is my country now. And I had not yet thought of it in those terms because I'm still just a resident. And I was thinking, oh yeah, I'll become a citizen one day. But I saw through his eyes, his emotion and his feeling for it. Yeah. And I thought, wow, that makes sense, And for the first time, I started thinking about it for myself.
My first election was when I was 18 years old, and when it's your first voting, they will give you a little present. So that's why I went. I was so excited because they gave everyone something for whom it was the first time. And now actually this is my second time because I never went for voting because I just didn't believe that there would be any changes, and I was kind of whatever, I don't need to vote. And this time it's my decision, so I'm going it intentionally because I do see a lot of great changes in my country. And I just want to be active this time because I see a lot of development is going on, and I really support this direction. the Christian direction, the direction of traditional values. It seems to me that we're kind of coming back to our, how to say, to the place where I would like my country to go. And we'll see what will happen, but so far it looks promising.
If you're a Westerner and you've only heard what the mainstream media tells you, but now you're a little bit open-minded because you saw my show or Tim's show and you thought those guys are cool and they seem to think Russia's all right. And how do I know more about Putin? Is he all right? I would say watch the Oliver Stone interviews if you only know English. Is there another thing you guys would recommend for people that don't really know Putin yet or want to kind of rediscover who he is?
Ooh, well, I would say, well, again, also you mentioned the Oliver Stone interviews. I would say the Tucker Carlson interview was pretty good because I think he came across with he really expressed a level of just annoyance that I think the Russian masses feel towards the West in general, of like, why are you doing this to us?
Yeah, as a foreigner who's been here for only 2 years, you can definitely see physically the changes here. Lots of construction, lots of improvements, even in smaller cities in this country.
What's his name?
Vladimir Vladimirovich Putina. Commander Putina.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you know, what can we say about him? He's been around for a while, and you know, he's very conservative, pro-family. He, you know, laid out his platform in his speech to the Federal Assembly. So, you know, some of this has been fighting poverty, supporting families with children, particularly large families, and strengthening Russia's economic independence, and really pushing programs for technology and science.
And just on a moral level, you can just feel the traditional family vibes from living here.
So today I went voting, and I was dressed in my gel Snegurочка outfit with kokoshnik, and everyone in the election office, they were like smiling. Even the policeman even took photo with me, and so they asked me like why. Maybe I was celebrating Maslenitsa, you know, this blini festival, the one you have a lot of amazing videos on your channel, Joseph. So anyone who haven't seen it yet, go check. So I said, no, it's just, you know, elections. So happy holiday. I really feel like it is a holiday, a celebration.
See, где Максим? Christoph, Rod. How did you?
You're right. I was born in the USSR because I was born when it was still there. Then afterwards moved around Europe, Canada, US, and I voted as well. And it was extremely uneventful. In fact, I dressed up because I felt like it. I had a nice half suit, whatever you want to call it. Very official yet unofficial. I walked in. The police, they were fine. One cop was looking at me, and I felt like he recognized me because he was looking at me all weird. But anyway, so I walk in, and there's a whole bunch of ladies, and everyone's smiling like they were a couple of years ago. And I'm just like, hey, I have no idea which one I'm going to talk to here. Just, you know, I'll randomly pick one. Don't be offended. You know, they checked my passport. They gave me the form. You know, I filled it in, dropped it, and then left. It was extremely uneventful.
I have currently been living in Moscow for 12 years. And yeah, voting yesterday for me was very special, very emotional, because my wife is Russian. You know, we met in upstate New York. We lived in America together for a long time. But living in Russia for such a long time with visas, and then my temporary residency, then my permanent residency, you know, I'm living here, and my children are Russian, my wife, you know, and I feel like I'm home. You know, I feel that I am Russian, you know, but without the citizenship, I always just felt like I was an immigrant, you know. So getting my citizenship and being able to vote yesterday has made me feel complete. Really, I'm like so very, very happy.
So Christoph, what did you think of that place, that building we were in?
It's not not look like школа.
It doesn't look like a school?
Yes.
I thought it looked like your school. No?
No.
It didn't? Okay. Why was it different?
It's half police there.
Well, your school.
A lot. Yeah, we have one, but there's a lot.
Well, your school has a lot of police in it today too, because people are voting at your school as well. And the police are there specifically for voting day to make sure everything's safe.
Then it's the same.
Yeah, it is the same. You're right.
There was rumblings in the news that there might be something that was going to happen between Russia and its neighbor. And then 8 days after we got here, the special military operation happened. So I was kind of ill. I was kind of sick. I was like, my gosh, did I make a mistake? And, you know, with my embassy telling me I had to leave, and there was sanctions, and people saying, oh my gosh, go buy olive oil and Parmesan cheese before it's all gone. I didn't do that. I can still buy olive oil and Parmesan cheese, by the way. But I was inspired to start the channel because of all this stuff, because I felt like, my gosh, my kids live on this planet. Now they are in danger, and other families are in danger. And I am considered behind enemy lines now by my government. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen, but I could do something. I could support something. I could tell the world that Russia's normal place. And even if I end the Cold War 3 days sooner, you know, I did my part.
Человек предполагает, Бог располагает. So a man, like a person, is planning something, makes plans, but the God actually, you know, controlling it all. So it was not a coincidence that the timing of your coming here. So you clearly have been serving your purpose, and you know, for the whole world. So what an amazing outcome.
How to show, Svetlana, my darling. So I was able to go inside with you. I'm glad, because I wasn't sure if they would let me in since I'm not a citizen. And it looked like a regular school to me, and the whole voting system looked very similar to what I see in America, where you sign in and then you go to a little partitioned off area to do your vote.
Well, actually you have a choice. They give me a choice.
Okay, tell me.
They asked me if I want to vote online on this screen, or if I want to have it in paper version and go to the, actually there were 3 options, I don't remember the third one, but I chose the old school classical paper.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And I saw you slide it into a box with a slot, just like you do in America.
Oh yeah, that's the same in America?
Yeah, or at least in the old-fashioned way. Right. You know, like you said, there are more modern ways to vote now.
You know, I've heard my whole life, like, get out the vote, get out the vote. We got to convince people to vote. And especially when I was a young person, I'm looking around at the other young people that I know, and I'm thinking to myself, why do I want to convince these people to vote? I mean, if they don't want to vote, and I see, you know, their attitude about life, you know, why do we care? You know, do I want someone to vote who's not really thinking about it and being smart about it? Does that make sense? I mean, I think it's great that Russia has over 80% of eligible people voting, because they actually, it was on their heart and they feel like they should and they want to. But if you have a culture where the people don't want to vote, why do I want to convince these people that haven't paid attention for 4 years, let's say, to now suddenly go vote? Does that make sense? Am I wrong?
Yeah. One question I wanted to ask you before we end this, because in America, there's a controversy over asking people for their ID to vote. What about in Russia? Do they ask for your ID?
They
Do you
took
need
my
it?
passport and they scanned it, like, because I registered before to be able to vote in this place. That it didn't happen that I voted like 3 times. So
Very
they
interesting.
scanned my passport on the machine, on the special device. And
Okay.
then they gave me the printed paper where it was my name on it.
So you need to officially show your ID and
Yep.
get marked into the system to
Yep.
vote, to be sure no one's, you know, doing any shenanigans. So in America, it's considered discrimination by some people to require an ID to vote. But you're saying in Russia they require an ID.
If 10 people come and, you know, they will be voting several times, I think that wouldn't be fair, you know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Your
I think it's
opinion has
just,
been noted for the whole world to remember. I'll keep my opinion to myself.
Do you have any parting words of inspiration for us?
Yeah, just well, I'm blessed, so very blessed to be living in Russia, raising my children. I don't know, just a very emotional weekend for me, really. I'm a Russian citizen, and voting, and you know, I'm home. Like I feel like, yeah, I'm born in America. I was raised in America. I left when I was 18 to live in Germany for 3 years, you know, and when I lived in Germany, I'm like, you know what? I feel different, you know? So a part of me knew that someday I'm going to probably end up not living in America. And I met my Russian wife, and I'm here now. So I don't know. I wish everyone happiness and health and prosperity. And that's all I have.
Thanks so much, Daniel, for coming on.
We're happy to have +1 amazing man in Russia. So congratulations.
Yeah, I'm very, very happy this weekend. It's a wonderful, wonderful weekend for me. I feel like, you know, I feel complete, you know, living here for so many years, you know, and I'm like, I'm home, but I'm an immigrant. I have residency or a visa, but now I have my citizenship. So life is great. Two.
Two. You have a great heart, Daniel.
Do Russian people look like people in your city?
I think no.
Это мальчик потерян. Крестов, подожди, пожалуйста, подожди, Зай.
All right, so what is your opinion now of presidential election voting in Russia? How does it compare to voting in your country? Leave a comment. Let us know what you think. Don't forget to find us on Telegram if you want to join our daily Telegram channel. Like, subscribe, interrupt my speech right now, click the share button, send this to your friends, and click the box to see what happens next.
Preliminary results have been released. Putin has 87% of the votes. Hartonov.
Yeah. Haritonov. I play American football with a guy with the same last name, so I've heard it many times. Sorry.
Yeah. He had 4.6%. Ivanikov 4.2%, and Slutsky 3%.
Oh, interesting. Ooh, LDPR slipping. Wow, okay. All right.
So Kevin,
Well, that's according
over?
to the exit polls.
Does that mean it's over, or does that mean that's what it is so far based on what they've counted and guessed at counting?
That's so far of what they've counted.
Okay.
I mean, we can pretty much say it's over.
Well, yeah, there's not enough votes left uncounted to sway that gigantic of a margin, especially because, like Kevin was just saying, they're all like Russians who live abroad, so their numbers aren't titanic enough to sway that big of a vote, you know?
Right. But Kevin, you and I have to go for another 58 minutes at least. So why did you tell everyone it's over?
Well, I said it's basically over.
Well, I don't know if someone pulls up with like a few the semi trucks worth of fake ballots somewhere, maybe something could happen.
Great, молодец, love it.
Thank you so much for these sanctions, for taking care of our health. We no longer have Coca-Cola. We no longer have McDonald's.
So does that mean I lost my train of thought?
I have nothing else interesting to say because it was so uneventful when I voted. It was so smooth and so, you know.
I don't know because I haven't been there. You did.
Yes, I did. So, where are they?
Making sure that Russians are so healthy and fit and live long and happy. Thank you so much, dear Western countries.
What do you think of voting in Russia? Presidential election voting? Comment and let us know. Is my wife yelling in the middle of my speech?
So thank you so much for having me. Everyone, happy Elections Day, because I do believe this is kind of celebrating worth occasion, not only for Russians, but for the whole world.
It's a very smart thing to say, yes.
What should I say?
I don't know.
Я даже не понимаю, про что это. Quite a while in Russia or quite a while in America?
You lived in America for quite a while,
Да,
for
нет,
9
ты
years.
сказала, it's quite a while when it's a presidential elections.
That phrase is actually in the Bible that man makes plans, but God orders his steps. You know, I can plan all I want, but God's going to tell me where I'm going to stand. So it's definitely comforting and interesting, for sure.
The woman.
Что?
I'm the one who is the woman.